This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. It's a day and a half after a wild night out in New York City. I'm joined by promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie, a chance to recharge your batteries. How are you feeling now? A chance to reflect.
Feeling good. Had a monster sleep last night, 10.5 hours on the whoop. And a big run this morning and meetings today, and obviously a big press conference in New York on Wednesday. And feel good. Like baffled and shocked and excited by Saturday night. I thought it was just a thrilling fight. Gutted for Devin. Congratulations to Ryan. And, it was a great night for boxing. Although the build-up was a little bit wee, the fight itself really delivered. And I think it put boxing, or kept boxing, on the map. And it's important.
When you look at those stars, obviously Devin, Ryan, there's all the sort of Tank, Shakur, Teofimo Lopez. How important has it been for these two to share the ring now, to kind of say to the rest of them, listen, look at the success that we've just had, just start sharing a ring with each other?
The best thing about that fight, both young, right? Both young, one undefeated, Ryan just with one defeat, but both willing to fight each other in their prime against the best. It's the best thing for boxing, because what we see is a lot of guys getting older in their 30s, mid-30s. If you look at the heavyweight division, those guys, although the guys are in their prime, they are early 30s, mid-30s, late 30s. There you got two guys, and I hope it spurs on the likes of Gervonta and Teofimo and, all these guys, Richardson, Hitchens, Subriel Matias, Boots, all of these guys to just keep fighting the best that you can in the prime of your career, because boxing is going to be the winner.
The toughest fight, obviously, of Devin's career so far, come away with a defeat for the first time. How's he been coping since?
Yeah, he's been very quiet, as you'd imagine. The kid's a winner. He's only used to winning. And I think when you put everything into something and you come up short, it's very difficult to take. He'll reflect on what he did wrong in the fight, in the build-up, preparation, whatever it might be, because you look for answers. And it's got to hurt right now. I always say to a fighter when they get beat, you have to be crushed by this defeat. You have to understand that life is about the highs and the lows, the wins and the losses. But it's got to really hurt, because you've got to have the desire to come back. He should be very proud, not necessarily of his performance, because I didn't think he boxed well, but the heart that he showed. He was hurt repeatedly. His legs weren't there for, whether it was weight or whether it was, more importantly, the left hook of Ryan Garcia. But he never quit. He got up, he held on, he fought back, he won rounds. And I think he deserves a huge amount of credit, because we know Devin's got skill, but now we know he has heart as well. And I'm very proud of the way he dug deep on Saturday night.
On the night, Eddie, when we did our post-fight interview, you said you scored it probably in and around a draw. Do you still feel like a draw?
I haven't watched the fight back. I'm watching the fight at ringside. I struggled to give Ryan Garcia, other than the first round, through 5 or 6 rounds, any rounds at all. He didn't do anything. And then he dropped him in the 7th. Brutal. Point deduction. So that's a 10-9. And then the 10-8 rounds in 10 and 11, which were horrible at the time, because I thought up until that 10th round, I had Devin well in front in the fight. You can't say he wasn't. So I thought, if you asked me who if I had to pick a winner, it was Ryan Garcia. But I thought we might edge out a draw. And there was one draw, but unfortunately there wasn't 2 others. So I think, ultimately Ryan was the one who did enough to win the fight. But I did feel like it was a very close fight.
The weight was obviously a significant talking point. We've seen, for a few fights now, Devin really kind of boiling himself down to 135 up until he's moved to 140. And then Ryan obviously missing weight. Do you feel like, though, with Devin, that's maybe came to his detriment, all of those fights continuously boiling down to 135, caught up with him now at all?
Maybe. I mean, you have to look at, one of the first things I said to him, you have to understand a fighter, unless you're really, really close to a fighter, you don't truly know how the weight cut has gone, right? And when I asked him on after the weigh-in and said, how'd the weight cut go? Good. And then when you get beat, that's a better time to ask someone, how did the weight cut really go? But his answer was, the weight cut was good. Now, that was just after the fight. We'll catch up this week as well. I felt like I like Devin at 140. He's coming up. But you know what I said earlier about these guys being young guys in their prime? They're 25 years old. They're really still evolving in terms of their physical presence. So, would he be better at 147? But Ryan, I think he wasn't fighting a 140-pounder in there. He was fighting really closer to a welterweight, and in the ring on the night, he was fighting more like a middleweight, So for me, I think you need to look at how the weight cut went. I would like to see Devin stay at 140 if he feels like he can keep his strength there and his shape, because he's still world champion. I love the Ryan Garcia rematch. I think it's a huge fight, but we'll see what Ryan did. I mean, let's be honest. I doubt Ryan's training camp was the strictest, so he couldn't make weight. He couldn't honour the terms of the agreement. Can he now, or will he move to 47? You've only got to look at the pictures of him in the tank fight versus the pictures of him on Saturday, and that just goes to show you a lot of fighters are fighting at weight classes they actually shouldn't be fighting at.
You said to me at the weigh-in that there was obviously no rehydration clause put in for the following morning, and I asked you after the fight, was there regrets, and you said possibly. But was it discussed?
Yeah, from our side, from Matchroom's side, we felt there should have been a reweigh on Saturday. It was chosen not to be pushed, and I feel that's a mistake. But I also understand that Devin rehydrates to massive numbers, but it's got nothing to do with Devin. You see, what would happen in that situation, I've been there 50 times on both sides of the street there when someone misses weight. You always try and get the fighter to rehydrate on a Saturday. A lot of the time they don't want to do it, of course, but it's how far you can push them. Now, maybe Ryan Garcia was the type of guy that would have just walked away and gone, all right, don't worry about it, I won't fight. And I'm sure that was a concern for Bill's as well. Bill wanted the fight. Everybody believed we could win regardless of the weight. Of course, the financial penalty was there, but Bill also probably felt that Devin rehydrates to massive numbers. We don't really want to reweigh either, But you shouldn't have to, because Ryan's the guy that missed the weight. So hindsight's a great thing, and I think if they would have pushed the Saturday weigh-in, there would have been a big chance that the fight wouldn't have taken place. And obviously Bill didn't want that, Devin didn't want that, but it was a massive physical advantage. You saw it on the night. It's like you're fighting a middleweight in there, and I would love to know what Ryan weighed as he walked to the ring that night.
I know there'll be a huge clamour to try and secure a rematch for Devin, but Ryan in his post-fight did say he sees himself moving to 147 next. With that in mind, where does the land lie with Devin and moving forwards?
Listen, if the rematch is at 147, I'm sure Devin would be up for that. I think the rematch is huge. Those guys did good numbers together. Like I said to you earlier, they're two guys in their prime. Ryan's got a lot of options. He was already a star going into that fight. He's an even bigger star now. His behaviour, his profile, the intrigue, I think is a good word as well. And he deserves it. He put a great performance together on Saturday night. So there's many things he can do. I just hope that he continues to fight. You've got to take your hats off to Ryan Garcia. He boxed Tank and then he boxed Devin Haney. So keep going. Fight Boots. Fight Teofimo. Fight Subriel Matias. Fight the top guys in the sport. And, I'm sure he's going to have a nice break now, whatever he's going to get up to. And like I said, he's an asset to boxing. Although a lot of people didn't like his behaviour in the build-up, that was massive for boxing, and he's massive for boxing. Because like I said, we need characters and personalities in the sport. They don't all have to be squeaky clean, That's the beauty of a character, a personality. And I did say in the build-up to this fight that maybe this newfound mentality or whatever it is from Ryan might be good for him. Because I think before maybe he was a little bit emotionally weak and mentally weak. Now he just doesn't seem to give a blind bit about what anyone thinks. So don't know the guy personally, but as always in this sport, you have to take your hat off to the victor and give him respect.
One final thing from the fight, and one of the biggest talking points was the referee's performance. Eddie, what did you make of the referee on the night?
I think you always look back on things they could have and couldn't have done. I thought Devin tied him up a lot early in the fight, tactically, not because he was holding on. And then all of a sudden, Ryan Garcia held a huge amount, like 4, 5, 6, those kind of rounds where he seemed to be kind of taking a breather. I thought the point deduction for Ryan Garcia was harsh. Although he did hit him clean in the break, you'd like to see a warning there first. And then I thought Devin held a lot when he was hurt, understandably. Could he have had a warning and a point? I think he probably should have had a warning. And I think Ryan Garcia turned his back throughout the whole fight. Like, it's one thing shoulder rolling, but it's another thing actually turning your body. Like, the amount of times Devin got up close, and Ryan just, like, all you could see was his back. You can't do that. And he never actually even got warned for that, really. But tactically, that actually worked quite well for Ryan Garcia. So, look, it's a fight at the end of the day, and sometimes you've got to do what you can get away with. But I didn't think the referee's performance was terrible. I just think, as always, there's things he could have done.
Mauricio Sullivan confirmed Devin is still WBC champion. Where do you go in that for? I know you've talked about the Ryan Garcia match, but if it's not going to happen at 140, well, he wouldn't because he missed weight. So would he vacate happily for that rematch?
Yeah, look, he's going to have to fight Sandor Martin, which is, look, that's a tough fight to come back to. Like, they're all tough fights, but I think if Devin would have stopped or knocked out Ryan Garcia, the Sandor Martin fight would have been a little bit more of a difficult sell commercially to say, I don't know. Like, but now, actually, that's a fight that a lot of people would think Sandor Martin has a chance in for Devin coming back to. So I like him taking that fight, re-establish himself at 140 if physically he feels like that's the thing for him to do. But if the rematch is there, anywhere between 140 and 147, I think he should take it.
Seen both Jaron Boots Ennis and your British welterweight Conor Benn mentioned for a potential fight there as well. Just starting with Conor, and realistically, could we see that?
Yeah, I mean, look, commercially, it's a massive fight. You could do that in London. You could do it in Vegas. Look, Ryan's going to call the shots now. He's a star, and Conor would be bang up for that fight. I think it's a fight that Ryan Garcia and the team would fancy. I don't think they're going to fight Boots Ennis, but as I said to you earlier, we have to build Jaron to make sure that when you fight him, you get paid for the risk because everyone knows how good he is.
Obviously, one of the tweets, the back and forth was Ryan saying that Conor's unable to box in the UK. Have you got any comment yet as to what the land law is?
At the moment, that's correct. We hope that will change soon.
What is the latest with the board's appeal that you can tell us?
Nothing. That everyone's still talking, and until you hear a statement or news from the people that actually are involved, not us, the board, UCAD, Conor Benn, we're all still waiting to decide where he'll fight next.
Two final ones just to end on. Seen Turkey El Al Sheikh mention that he wants to make Crawford Boots in the near future as well.
I mean, Crawford against Boots is one of the best fights in boxing, but it will be very difficult for Terence Crawford to fight Boots as a comeback fight when he gets beat by Israel Madrimov. You laugh. I mean, that's a serious fight. Madrimov is a huge puncher. And if you want to come up to 154, you better be ready.
So when's he going to fight Madrimov then?
We'll see. Discussions going on at the moment.
And then also, Eddie, just final one. I've seen Andy Ruiz suggest that he's going to be boxing on a potential Crawford and Madrimov card.
I'm sure all will be revealed at Wednesday's press conference. I would love to see Andy Ruiz back. I really would. I think he's a brilliant addition to the heavyweight, rankings, but also to boxing. And I'm sure with Riyadh Season hosting this fight and His Excellency, you can expect an incredible night of boxing.
It's a pleasure as always. I'm sure I'll see you on Wednesday.
See you there.